The night was silent, too silent for a city that never slept. The moonlight fell on empty streets, broken cars, and flashing traffic lights that had no one left to stop. Ryan sat on the edge of a tall, half-broken building with his sniper rifle resting on his knee. His eyes scanned the distance through the scope, searching for any sign of movement. The air felt heavy, almost warning him of something dark approaching. He had felt this kind of silence before, just before the war began years ago. But tonight it was different. It felt like the end of everything. A sudden flash lit up the clouds, followed by a strange humming sound that grew louder each second. Ryan looked up and his heart froze. The sky tore open with a blinding light as several fireballs shot down toward Earth. They weren't meteors. They moved with precision, slowing down just before impact, hovering in midair like metal beasts. One by one they opened, and from them stepped tall figures covered in black armor that glowed with blue energy. Alien warriors. Within moments, chaos took over the city. Explosions ripped through the streets. Buildings collapsed as alien machines flew overhead, firing deadly plasma shots that turned everything to ash. Ryan watched in horror as people ran for their lives, screaming, hiding, dying. He could hear the sound of soldiers shouting, trying to fight back, but their weapons were useless against the invaders' shields. Humanity was losing. Ryan clenched his fists. He had seen enough death for one lifetime, but this was beyond anything he could imagine. He checked his sniper rifle, loaded a bullet, and took a deep breath. If this is how the world ends, he whispered to himself, then I'll go down fighting. He aimed through the scope, locking on to one of the alien soldiers standing near a burning car. The creature raised its weapon, ready to shoot at a terrified family hiding behind the wreckage. Ryan didn't hesitate. He pulled the trigger. The gun fired with a sharp crack and the alien dropped instantly. For a second it felt like victory. But then 5 more aliens turned their glowing eyes toward him. A beam of blue light hit the wall beside him, sending him crashing to the floor. Dust filled the air. Ryan crawled to his feet, coughing, his ears ringing. The building shook as another blast hit nearby. He knew he couldn't stay. He grabbed his rifle and ran down the stairs as fast as he could. Outside, the streets were unrecognizable. Fires burning everywhere, cars flipped over, smoke rising to the sky. He moved carefully, staying in the shadows, avoiding drones that scanned the area with bright blue lights. Every sound, every echo made his heart race. He was trained to survive, but tonight felt impossible. Still, he pushed forward. Somewhere deep down, he believed there was still a way to fight back. As he passed a destroyed alleyway, a soft sound caught his attention. It was faint, a groan, almost like a cry. He raised his rifle and followed it, stepping over debris and broken glass. The sound grew clearer. It wasn't human. It was too soft, too strange. When he turned the corner, he saw something lying on the ground. A figure in silver armor, glowing faintly under the moonlight. It was one of them, an alien. But something was different. This one was smaller, its armor cracked, and instead of a weapon, it was clutching its side, bleeding a strange blue liquid. Ryan raised his gun instantly, finger on the trigger. He had no mercy for these creatures. They destroyed his world, killed thousands, maybe millions. But then the alien moved slightly and looked up at him. For a moment, Ryan froze. The eyes staring back at him weren't cold or empty. They looked human. He hesitated, confused. The alien's helmet was broken on one side, revealing part of a face, a young woman's face. She was breathing heavily, whispering something in a language he couldn't understand. He stepped closer, his gun still pointed at her head. "Don't move," he said quietly. She looked at him again and then, in broken English, she whispered, "Please, help me." Ryan's mind raced. Was this a trick? Was she trying to lure him in? But her voice didn't sound like a soldier's. It sounded like someone scared, someone in pain. He noticed her wounds, deep burns, shattered armor. She wasn't fighting anymore. She was dying. The ground shook again as an explosion went off in the distance. Ryan looked up and saw more alien ships landing nearby. He didn't have much time. He had to choose, leave her here or risk everything by helping her. He tightened his grip on his rifle, his heart pounding in his chest. The alien girl looked at him again, her eyes filled with something he didn't expect. Fear, not hatred. He slowly moved closer, his finger still on the trigger. "Who are you?" he asked, but she didn't answer. She just whispered something again, softer this time. Ryan couldn't understand the words, but the way she said them, It almost sounded like his name. He stepped back, stunned. How could she know his name? Before he could think further, a bright light flashed across the alley. Drones were approaching, scanning for life forms. He looked at her one last time, torn between killing her and saving her. Then he made his choice. He lowered his rifle slightly, but his eyes stayed locked on her. She tried to move, but her body gave up. Ryan raised his gun again, breathing hard, his finger tightening on the trigger. The light from the drone passed over them. For a moment, everything went silent. The night air was thick with smoke and silence. After the explosion, Ryan had dragged the wounded alien girl into an abandoned subway tunnel. The world above burned while distant echoes of battle rumbled through the earth. He leaned her against the cold concrete wall, his rifle still aimed at her. The dim flashlight flickered on her cracked silver armor, showing the strange blue glow beneath. Her breathing was uneven, shallow, weak, but she was alive. Ryan's heart was still racing. His mind screamed that this was a mistake. She was one of them, the enemy, a killer. But something about her eyes wouldn't let him pull the trigger. They were full of fear, not hate. He had seen hate before in war, in soldiers, in himself. This was different. She looked like someone lost. He crouched beside her, keeping his distance. "Who are you?" he asked quietly. No response. Her lips trembled as she whispered something he couldn't understand. The words sounded strange, almost musical. He frowned. "Speak English," he demanded. The girl's eyes fluttered open again. She stared at him for a moment before whispering in broken English. "Ryan." He froze. The sound of his name hit him like a bullet. His grip on the gun tightened. "What did you just say?" he snapped. She coughed weakly, struggling to breathe. "Ryan," she repeated, this time softer. "I know you." He stepped back, shaking his head. "That's impossible. You're one of them." "How do you know my name?" But she didn't answer. Her eyes rolled back and she fell unconscious again. Ryan cursed under his breath. He didn't understand what was happening, but he couldn't just leave her there. He pulled off his jacket and wrapped it around her shoulder to slow the bleeding. Minutes passed. The distant sound of gunfire faded, replaced by the low hum of alien drones above the city. Ryan checked his rifle, reloaded, and scanned the tunnel entrance. He needed answers, and somehow he knew this girl had them. Hours later, she woke up. Her body shook as she tried to sit up. Ryan stayed alert, rifle aimed at her chest. "Don't move," he warned. She looked around in confusion, then back at him. Her voice was weak but clearer now. You saved me." Ryan didn't reply. He just stared at her, his finger resting near the trigger. "You're lucky I didn't finish the job," he said coldly. "Why were you here? Why attack us?" The alien girl looked down, her hands trembling. "Not my choice," she said slowly. "I came to stop them." Ryan frowned. "Stop them? You're part of the same army that destroyed my city." She shook her head, pain showing in her face. "No, I am not with them. My name is Lyra. I came to warn humans, but they found me first." Ryan didn't believe her. He had seen too much death to trust easily. "You expect me to believe that an alien came to help humans?" he said, his voice hard. "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard." Lyra looked at him with tired eyes. "I don't need you to believe," she whispered. "But if you kill me, you kill your only chance." Her words made him pause. "Chance for what?" he asked. Lyra looked up toward the tunnel ceiling as if she could see through it. "They are not done. The real attack begins tonight," she said. "This city will burn, and then the world." Ryan felt a chill run down his spine. "What are you talking about?" Lyra tried to move again but winced in pain. "They search for something," she said. "A signal. A weapon that humans found long ago. If they find it, everything will end." Ryan's heart pounded faster. He didn't know if she was telling the truth, but her voice carried a weight he couldn't ignore. She wasn't lying, he could feel it. He lowered his rifle slightly but kept his distance. "Why tell me this? Why me?" Lyra's eyes softened. "Because you are the one who can stop it," she said. Ryan blinked, confused. "Me? I'm just a sniper. Not a hero. Not someone who can save the world." Lyra gave a faint smile, weak but sincere. "Not a hero, but a fighter. And fighters still matter." Before he could reply, a faint metallic sound echoed from the tunnel entrance. Ryan spun around instantly, raising his rifle. A drone floated into view, scanning the area with its blue light. Lyra's armor began to glow faintly again, reacting to the signal. Ryan looked at her sharply. "They're tracking you." She nodded weakly. You must leave me. They will find me soon. Ryan ignored her. No. If they find you, they'll find me too. He looked around quickly, trying to plan an escape route. The drone came closer, the hum getting louder. He aimed and fired, a single clean shot. The bullet pierced the drone, and it fell to the ground, sparking. Ryan turned back to Lyra. Can you walk? She shook her head. Not far. Then we crawl, he said firmly. He slung his rifle over his shoulder and helped her up, her arm around his neck. She was surprisingly light. As they moved through the dark tunnel, Lyra spoke softly. Ryan, they will come for me. You should not stay close. He looked at her, determination burning in his eyes. You said you came to stop them. That means you know something they don't want me to know, so I'm not leaving you. She gave him a tired look. You will regret it. Maybe, he said, helping her move faster. But I'm not dead yet. The tunnel opened to another exit leading toward the ruins of the old bridge. The moonlight touched her face again, and Ryan saw that under the alien armor she looked almost human. Too human. He wondered who she really was and why she had said his name. As they disappeared into the night, Lyra whispered something he barely heard. They are coming, Ryan, and they won't stop until the earth is silent. Ryan's jaw tightened. He didn't know what was coming next, but one thing was clear. The war was just beginning. And somehow this strange girl from another world had made him part of it. The morning light never came. The city remained under thick black clouds, the sky alive with faint glows of alien ships moving silently above. Ryan and Lyra had taken shelter in an abandoned underground parking lot. The walls were cracked, water dripped from the ceiling, and the smell of smoke and metal filled the air. Ryan sat beside a small fire he had built using broken furniture and papers. Lyra sat across from him, her head bowed, eyes half closed. Her silver armor was now dull and scratched, her wounds bandaged with torn cloth and parts of his jacket. For a while neither of them spoke. Only the crackling of the fire broke the silence. Ryan watched her closely. She looked weaker now, but calmer, almost peaceful in the dim orange light. He still didn't know if he could trust her, but he couldn't ignore what she had said. Her words kept repeating in his mind. They search for something. A weapon. Finally, he broke the silence. You said last night that they're looking for a weapon. What kind of weapon? Lyra slowly lifted her head. Her eyes glowed faintly blue in the dark. It's not a weapon your people made, she said softly. It was left behind long ago by my kind. It should have never been found. Ryan frowned. Then why attack Earth? You could have just taken it back. Her voice trembled slightly. Because humans tried to use it. Ryan stared at her in disbelief. Use it? That's impossible. We don't even understand alien tech. Lyra shook her head. You learned more than you should have. Years ago, your scientists found part of the core under the ice in the northern lands. It's a living energy. It connects worlds, minds, and time. My people call it the star pulse. It's dangerous. It can destroy planets if awakened wrongly. Ryan leaned forward, his brows tightening. So you're telling me this whole invasion, this war, is because of something our scientists dug up? Lyra nodded slowly. They were warned, but they didn't listen. My brother. He leads the army now. He believes the humans must be erased before the pulse spreads its energy. Ryan rubbed his temples, trying to make sense of it. So your brother wants to wipe out all of humanity. And you boy came here to stop him? Yes, she said. But he found out. That's why they hunted me. That's why I crashed near you. Ryan looked at her again, searching her face for any sign of a lie. But her expression was sincere, sad even. Why risk your life for us, he asked. Why care what happens to humans? For the first time, Lyra smiled faintly, though her eyes looked distant. Because not all of us believe in war, she whispered. Some of us believe in second chances. And I once saw your world when I was young from the stars. It was beautiful, full of noise, colors, and life. My people forgot what that felt like. Ryan felt something shift inside him. He had lost everything to the invasion, his friends, his family, his home. But hearing her speak for the first time in days, he felt a small flicker of hope. Maybe this wasn't the end. Maybe there was still something left worth saving. He stood and walked to the edge of the room, looking through the broken wall into the distance. The city lights were dead, but faint blue flames from alien machines glowed like ghost fires. If what you're saying is true, he said, then we can't just hide. We have to stop them before they find this pulse. Lyra looked up at him, surprised. You want to fight them? Ryan turned back, his expression calm but firm. I've been fighting all my life. I'm just changing the target. She hesitated, then nodded slowly. There's an outpost nearby, she said. They store their communication crystals there. If we can reach it, I can send a signal to the rebel fleet. They can help. Rebel fleet? Ryan asked, curious. Yes, she replied. Not all my people follow my brother. Some want peace, but they are far, hiding beyond the dark side of the moon. If they know I'm alive, they'll come. Ryan thought for a moment. Then that's where we go. But we'll need supplies first. He grabbed his backpack and checked his rifle. Lyra tried to stand but stumbled, her legs still weak. Ryan reached out instinctively, catching her arm. She looked at him, a little startled. For a brief second their eyes met. His touch was rough, but there was warmth in it. Easy, he said quietly. You're not going anywhere if you fall again. Lyra looked down, hiding a small smile. You humans? Always pretending you don't care. Ryan chuckled softly. Yeah, well, don't get used to it. They left the parking lot together, moving through the ruined streets. Smoke still rose from distant fires and the sky above shimmered with alien ships. Ryan kept his rifle ready while Lyra guided him using a small holographic map that flickered weakly from her wrist device. As they passed through a narrow alley, Ryan stopped suddenly. Wait, he whispered. He raised his rifle and scanned the shadows ahead. A strange metallic noise echoed between the walls. Then from behind a wrecked car, a small alien drone emerged, its sensors glowing blue. Lyra reacted first, raising her hand. A spark of energy shot from her wrist, hitting the drone. It sparked and crashed to the ground. Ryan stared at her, surprised. You can do that? She nodded weakly. Only a little. My power source is fading, Ryan smirked. Remind me not to make you angry. As they continued, Lyra spoke again, her voice softer now. Ryan, your world is strong. Even broken, it fights back. That's what makes it dangerous and beautiful. He didn't answer, but inside her words stayed with him. For the first time since the invasion, he felt something he thought he had lost forever. Hope mixed with curiosity, maybe even something more. Hours later, they reached the outskirts of the alien outpost. Ryan crouched behind a fallen bus, scanning through his scope. There are guards, he whispered. Heavily armed. We can't go in loud. Lyra looked at the glowing towers ahead, determination in her eyes. Then we go quiet, she said. Your weapon. My knowledge. Together we might just stand a chance. Ryan looked at her, the faintest smile crossing his face. Guess we're a team now, huh? Lyra met his gaze. For now, she said softly. As the wind howled through the ruins and the night deepened again, Ryan steadied his rifle. The mission had begun. He didn't know where it would lead, but one thing was certain. His life, and perhaps the fate of Earth itself, was now tied to the mysterious girl from the stars. The night had settled deep over the ruined city, wrapping everything in silence and smoke. The stars above were hidden by dark clouds and the faint glow of alien ships drifting like ghosts in the sky. Ryan and Lyra crouched behind a broken wall overlooking the alien outpost. It was massive. Metal towers that pulsed with blue energy, guarded by armored soldiers that moved with machine-like precision. The ground around it was scorched and the air hummed with a strange vibration. Ryan adjusted his rifle scope and whispered, There are at least 20 guards on this side. We can't fight them all. Lyra nodded, her eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. We don't need to. There's a maintenance tunnel beneath the structure. If we can reach it, I can disable their sensors for a few minutes. Ryan glanced at her wrist device, which projected a small holographic map of the base. That tunnel's under heavy patrol, he said quietly. If they see us, it's over. Lyra looked at him calmly. Then they won't see us. Before he could ask what she meant, Lyra pressed a button on her wrist and her armor shimmered slightly, bending the light around her body. For a moment, she vanished from sight, leaving only a faint distortion in the air. Ryan blinked, surprised. You're invisible, he whispered. Her voice came from beside him, soft and steady. Partially. It won't last long. Stay close. Ryan nodded, checking his rifle one last time before following her into the dark. They moved like shadows, silent and focused. The sound of alien footsteps echoed nearby, mechanical and cold. Twice they had to freeze behind debris as patrols passed inches from them. Ryan could feel his heart pounding in his chest, but Lyra moved without fear. They finally reached a small hatch near the base of the tower. Lyra knelt beside it, tapping a sequence on her device. The hatch opened with a faint hiss.
"Inside," she whispered.
Ryan climbed in first, followed by Lyra. The tunnel was narrow and filled with strange glowing vines that pulsed softly. The air was warmer here, almost alive. Ryan frowned. "What is this place?" Lyra's expression darkened. "This is how they feed the machines," she said quietly. "The base is connected to the Earth itself now. They drain energy from your planet's core." Ryan shook his head. "They're killing the planet." Lyra nodded. "Slowly, yes. My brother's army believes this energy will awaken the star pulse. But they don't understand. When it wakes, it will destroy everything, yours and mine." Her voice cracked slightly on the last words. Ryan looked at her. "You really believe that, don't you?" She met his gaze, her blue eyes glowing softly. "I don't just believe it," she whispered. "I've seen it happen before." The words hit him hard. "Before?" Lyra nodded, her expression distant. "My homeworld was the first. We awakened the pulse by mistake. It consumed our oceans, burned our sky. My brother swore never to let that power fall into other hands, but in his fear he became the very thing he hated." Ryan didn't know what to say. He had seen cities burn, but to lose an entire world, that kind of pain was something else. He wanted to ask more, but Lyra suddenly held up a hand. "Quiet," she whispered. Voices echoed from up ahead, alien soldiers patrolling the tunnel. Ryan crouched behind a large pipe, gripping his rifle. Lyra moved her fingers along the wall, and the lights around them dimmed. When the soldiers came closer, Ryan took a deep breath, aimed, and fired a single silenced shot. The first alien dropped instantly. Lyra extended her hand, sending a pulse of energy toward the second. It froze mid-step, its armor sparking before collapsing. The tunnel went quiet again. Ryan exhaled. "Nice teamwork," Lyra smiled faintly. "You're not bad yourself, human." He smirked. "Ryan, use my name." "Ryan," she repeated softly, as if testing the sound. For a moment there was something almost gentle in her voice. They continued forward until they reached the core chamber. A massive crystal structure floated in the center, humming with blue light. Lyra walked toward a console, her hands moving quickly. "I can disable the communication network for a short time," she said. "Once it's down, we can send a signal to my people." Ryan watched her work, admiring her focus. "You sure your people will come?" "They will if they know I'm alive," she said. "But there's something else." She hesitated. "If my brother detects the signal, he'll know I've betrayed him. He'll send his best hunters after us." Ryan gave a short laugh. "Then we'd better move fast." Before Lyra could respond, a loud alarm echoed through the chamber. Red lights flashed across the walls. "What did you do?" Ryan shouted. Lyra's eyes widened. "It's not me. They detected the signal too soon." The floor shook violently as armored aliens poured into the room. Ryan ducked behind a console and fired. One by one, the enemies fell, but more kept coming. Lyra tried to hold them off with short bursts of energy, but her power was fading. "There are too many," she yelled. Ryan pulled out a grenade and tossed it toward the entrance. The explosion gave them a few seconds. He grabbed Lyra's arm. "Come on, move!" They ran down a side tunnel, the alarm still echoing behind them. Lyra stumbled, her legs weak. Ryan caught her again, pulling her close as they hid behind a collapsed wall. She was breathing hard, sweat on her face. "I told you," she said weakly. "You shouldn't have stayed with me." Ryan looked at her, his eyes fierce. "And I told you, I'm not leaving." For a moment their eyes locked, the chaos fading around them. She looked away, whispering, "You'll get yourself killed." "Maybe," he said quietly. "But if dying means giving this world one more chance, then it's worth it." The noise of approaching footsteps snapped them back to reality. Ryan checked his ammo, only 3 bullets left. Lyra looked at him, determination flickering in her tired eyes. "There's a way out," she said, pointing to a maintenance ladder leading upward. "It goes to the jungle outside the city." Ryan nodded, helping her climb first. As they reached the surface, the cold air hit them. The jungle was dark, lit only by the pale glow of alien lights above. They collapsed behind a fallen tree, catching their breath. For a long moment, neither spoke. Only the sound of insects and distant thunder filled the night. Then Lyra turned to him and said softly, "You saved me again." Ryan smiled faintly. "Don't get used to it." She looked at him, a hint of warmth in her eyes. "You humans, you fight even when you know you'll lose. Maybe that's why your world still has hope." Ryan gazed into the forest, the moonlight reflecting off his rifle. Hope, he murmured, is all we've got left. And as they sat there, hidden in the dark jungle, the sound of distant alien ships echoed through the sky, searching for them. But for now they had survived. And somewhere between war and silence, something fragile had begun to grow between the soldier and the alien who once called him enemy. The night stretched on endlessly, filled with smoke, fire, and fear. The invasion had slowed, but Earth was still bleeding. Ryan and Lyra had escaped the destroyed city and found shelter inside an old underground military base hidden beneath the forest. The base was dark and abandoned, covered in dust and silence. Only the faint flickering of a dying light bulb broke the stillness. Ryan set his sniper rifle against the wall, keeping a cautious eye on Lyra as she worked silently on some kind of glowing blue orb, a strange device that looked like it didn't belong to this world. Lyra sat cross-legged on the cold floor, her hands trembling slightly as she held the orb. The light from it danced across her face, making her look both human and alien at once. Her silver armor was cracked and faint marks of injury ran along her arm, but her expression stayed calm and focused. Ryan watched her closely, his mind filled with questions he couldn't voice. He had saved her life once again, but trust didn't come easy. "What is that thing?" he asked, breaking the silence. His voice was low, almost echoing off the walls. Lyra looked up, her greenish-blue eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. "It's a star core," she said softly. "A memory device from my world. It carries voices, messages." Ryan frowned. "Messages? From who?" Lyra hesitated. "From the ones who sent us here." She touched the orb gently, and suddenly it came alive. A beam of blue light shot upward, filling the room with floating images. Holograms of alien landscapes, massive ships drifting through space, and strange symbols Ryan couldn't understand. Then came a voice, calm but powerful, speaking in a rhythmic alien language that filled the air like a haunting song. Ryan stepped back, his rifle halfway raised, not sure what he was seeing. "What's it saying?" he demanded. Lyra's voice grew quiet. "It's the Order, my leaders. They're telling us to continue the mission, to finish what we started." Ryan's stomach twisted. "To destroy Earth." Lyra didn't answer right away. The silence that followed said enough. The blue light flickered again, showing a massive alien commander speaking to a group of soldiers, the same kind who had burned the city. He pointed to an image of Earth on the hologram and made a slicing motion with his hand. The message ended and the orb dimmed to a dull glow. Ryan clenched his fists. "So that's it. You came here to wipe us out, to take everything." Lyra shook her head quickly. "No, not me. I was never supposed to kill. I came as a translator, a scientist. But when the war began, they forced all of us to fight." Her voice broke slightly, her eyes reflecting guilt. "I tried to stop it. That's why they shot me down." Ryan studied her, trying to read her face. Part of him wanted to believe her, to believe that there was still something human inside her. But the other part screamed that she was still one of them. "Why are you telling me this now?" he asked. "Because," she said softly, "you need to know the truth. The invasion isn't about revenge or survival. It's about power. My people are dying too, Ryan. Their planet is burning. They think Earth is their last chance." Ryan paced the room, running a hand through his hair. "So they'll kill us to save themselves." Lyra lowered her gaze. "Yes." The silence between them grew heavy again. The blue orb pulsed gently in her hands like a living thing. Ryan wanted to smash it, to destroy every trace of her world. But deep down, something stopped him. Maybe the way she looked at him, maybe the faint tremor in her voice when she said his name. He took a deep breath. "If you're really telling the truth, if you really want to stop them, then prove it." Lyra looked up sharply. "How? Help me take them down." Her eyes widened slightly as if she hadn't expected those words. For a long moment she didn't speak. Then slowly she nodded. "There's one way," she said. "The command nexus, the control ship orbiting your planet. If we destroy it, the invasion stops. The soldiers will lose their signal. They won't know what to do." Ryan stared at her. "And how do you expect us to reach something in orbit?" Lyra's lips curved slightly, a small, confident smile. "There's still a ship, my ship. It crashed near the northern ridge. If it's still intact, we can use it." Ryan's heart pounded. The idea sounded insane, but it was also the only hope left. "Then we go tomorrow," he said firmly. Lyra nodded again, her gaze steady. "Tomorrow." They both sat in silence after that, the orb glowing softly between them. For the first time since the invasion began, there was a fragile sense of purpose, a shared mission that went beyond survival. But in the shadows of the base, something small and mechanical blinked, a red light, hidden among the rubble. Neither of them saw it. Far above Earth, deep in the alien command ship, a figure watched the same scene through a holographic screen. His eyes glowed cold blue as he listened to their voices. "Target located," the machine whispered. "The traitor has been found." And somewhere in the dark sky beyond the clouds, another storm was coming. Fade to black. The sun was barely rising when Ryan and Lyra left the underground base. The forest was quiet again, but not peaceful. It was the kind of silence that follows destruction. Smoke still rose from the city miles away, painting the sky in shades of red and gray. Ryan moved carefully, scanning their surroundings through his scope, while Lyra walked beside him with the star core held close to her chest. She said it was guiding her, pulling her toward the crash site of her ship, the only thing that could take them to the alien command vessel orbiting Earth. Their path led through ruined farmlands, broken roads and empty houses. Every few miles they passed signs of battle, burned-out vehicles, collapsed walls, and the remains of drones lying in the dirt like shattered bones. Ryan didn't speak much. He didn't know what to say. His mind was still trying to process what Lyra had told him, that her people's invasion was born not out of hatred, but desperation. Still, it didn't make it right. Lyra seemed quieter than before, too. Her face, usually calm and focused, now carried something softer, guilt. Sometimes Ryan caught her looking at the horizon with a distant expression, as if she were remembering something painful. After hours of walking, they reached a valley surrounded by steep hills. The air was colder here, filled with a faint metallic smell. Lyra stopped suddenly, holding the orb higher. The blue light grew brighter. "It's here," she said softly. Ryan followed her gaze, and there it was. Half buried in the earth, torn apart and covered in vines, lay a massive alien ship. Its silver hull shimmered faintly under the sunlight. Even through the damage, parts of it still glowed faintly with blue energy. The ground around it was scorched and pieces of metal were scattered everywhere. They climbed down carefully, stepping over debris. Ryan kept his rifle ready, eyes sharp for any sign of movement. "You sure it's safe?" he asked. Lyra nodded slowly. "It's not safe, but it's all we have." As they entered the ship, the temperature dropped. The inside was dark and silent, lit only by flickering blue lights. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the walls, pulsing like veins. Ryan felt uneasy. Everything inside felt alive, like the ship itself was watching them. Lyra walked ahead, touching the walls gently. The symbols responded to her touch, lighting up one by one. "She still knows me," Lyra whispered. "The ship remembers." Ryan looked around, amazed despite himself. "This thing is incredible," he muttered. "She was my partner," Lyra said quietly, her voice echoing in the hollow chamber. "Her name was Eos. We don't just pilot our ships, we bond with them. They have minds. And feelings," Ryan frowned. "Feelings? You mean it's alive?" Lyra nodded. "In a way." As they moved deeper inside, they reached what looked like a central chamber, a massive circular room with a cracked energy core in the middle. Sparks danced around it, flickering weakly. Lyra placed the glowing orb, the star core, on a small pedestal near the control console. Instantly, the ship responded. The lights brightened. A soft melodic hum filled the air, but then something unexpected happened. A voice spoke, calm, feminine, and mechanical. "Lyra, you have returned." Ryan stepped back in shock. The ship was speaking. Lyra closed her eyes for a moment. "Yes, Eos, I need your help." The voice hesitated. "You are injured. Your vitals are unstable. You should rest." "There's no time," Lyra said. "We have to reach the command nexus." The voice grew colder. "That mission is forbidden. You are marked as a traitor." Ryan's hand instinctively went to his rifle. "What's she talking about?" Lyra turned toward him, her face pale. "When I refused to continue the attack, they branded me as a traitor. They gave Eos new orders and to kill me if I returned." As if on cue, the lights flickered red. The ground trembled slightly. The ship's systems came alive, defensive turrets rising from the walls targeting Ryan and Lyra. "Eos, stop!" Lyra shouted. "Listen to me, I didn't betray you. I'm trying to save us all." The ship's voice remained calm. Your actions endanger the mission. Directive: eliminate hostiles. Before Ryan could react, a pulse of blue energy shot toward them. He grabbed Lyra and dove behind a console. The blast hit the wall, sending shards of metal flying. Great, he muttered. Your ship wants to kill us. Lyra crawled toward the pedestal, shielding her face. I can override her. Just buy me time. Ryan peeked over the console, firing a precise shot at one of the turrets. The bullet sparked against the alien metal, barely leaving a dent. Not sure bullets work on your tech, he shouted. Just keep her distracted, Lyra said, typing rapidly into the console. Symbols flashed faster across the screen as she tried to access the ship's core. Another blast struck nearby, throwing Ryan to the ground. His ears rang, but he forced himself up, firing again and again, not to destroy, but to keep the ship's defenses focused on him. Finally, Lyra slammed her hand against the console and shouted, "Eos, it's me. Remember who I am." The lights flickered again, near blue, red, blue, and then steadied. Everything went quiet. The turrets lowered slowly back into the floor. The ship's voice returned softer now. Lyra. I remember. Lyra fell to her knees, breathing heavily. Good girl, she whispered. We need your help, Eos. The ship paused. You wish to destroy the Nexus? Yes, Lyra said. It's the only way to stop this war. The ship's response came after a long silence. Then I will fly again. Ryan lowered his rifle, watching as the cracked energy core began to heal, glowing brighter. The ship's systems hummed to life, dust shaking from the ceiling. For the first time, hope felt real. But far above them, in the orbiting command ship, the alien commander opened his eyes. A holographic alert glowed in front of him. Traitor's ship detected. Eos has reactivated, he smiled coldly. Then let the hunt begin. Fade to black. The ground shook as the ship roared to life, its engines humming with renewed strength. Dust and broken metal scattered around the valley as ancient systems came online one by one. Blue light streamed through the cracks in the walls, glowing brighter until the entire ship seemed to breathe again. Ryan stood near the window, shielding his eyes from the rising light. For the first time since the invasion began, he saw something powerful, something that didn't belong to destruction but to hope. Lyra stood at the main control platform, her hands resting on the glowing interface. The ship's voice, Eos, spoke gently. Systems restored. Energy levels at 58%. Flight possible, though limited. Ryan looked around, amazed. This thing still flies? Lyra smiled faintly. She's stronger than she looks. The ship began to lift slowly, rising from the broken earth. The trees below bent from the force of the thrusters, and within seconds they were above the clouds. The burning ruins of the city disappeared beneath them, replaced by endless skies and a soft blue horizon. For a brief moment it felt like peace, a moment stolen from the chaos of war. Ryan stood near the cockpit's glass dome, staring out. He had never been this high before, never seen Earth from above like this. It's beautiful, he whispered. Lyra glanced at him. Your world is stronger than you think. It's worth saving. Her words hung in the air. Ryan turned to her, studying her face in the soft blue glow. You really believe we can stop them? Lyra hesitated before answering. I have to believe it. If I don't, then everything I've done means nothing. The silence between them grew deep but comfortable. The soft hum of the ship surrounded them like a heartbeat. Ryan leaned back against the console, watching her as she worked. Her calm focus, the faint light in her eyes, the quiet determination that reminded him of soldiers he'd once fought beside. She wasn't like the others. He knew that now. Lyra, he said quietly, why me? Out of all the people on this planet, why did you trust me? Lyra didn't look up. Because when I first saw you... You didn't shoot? Ryan frowned. I almost did, but you didn't, she said softly. You saw me as something more than an enemy. My people would never do that. She paused, her gaze distant. That's why I think humans still have something we lost long ago. Ryan wanted to respond, but words felt too small. Instead, he simply nodded. Outside, the stars began to appear, thousands of them, glowing like distant fires in the dark sea of space. Hours passed as they climbed higher, breaking free from Earth's atmosphere. The planet below turned into a shimmering sphere of blue and green. For a moment, Ryan forgot the invasion, the war, the pain. It was just them, a soldier and an alien floating between two worlds. Eos's voice broke the silence. Approaching low orbit. Enemy sensors have detected us. Cloaking engaged, but signal interference detected. Lyra's fingers danced across the controls. Can we avoid them? Unlikely, the ship replied. They know we're here. Ryan tightened his grip on his rifle. Then we keep moving. We get close enough to the command nexus and we finish this. Lyra nodded. Once we destroy the nexus core, their entire fleet will lose command connection. They'll have no direction. But how do we reach it without getting blown out of the sky? Ryan asked. Lyra hesitated, then said, There's one way. A maintenance channel beneath the nexus. Small enough for a ship like Eos to pass through, but it's guarded. Of course it is, Ryan muttered. Eos's lights flickered briefly. Incoming ships. 5 hunters. Armored class, the alarm sounded. Ryan looked out the window and saw them. 5 alien interceptors cutting through the darkness, blue trails glowing behind them. Guess they didn't waste time. Lyra took the controls. Hold on. The ship tilted sharply and Ryan grabbed onto the side rail as they dove between the debris of old satellites. The enemy ships followed fast, firing bright plasma bolts that streaked past their hull. The sound of impact shook the chamber, alarms screaming. Eos defensive shields, Lyra commanded. Shields at 40%, Eos replied. Ryan looked through the targeting display. Can this thing shoot back? Lyra smirked faintly. Try the left console. Ryan hit the panel and a turret system deployed from beneath the hull. Now we're talking. He locked onto one of the interceptors and fired. The shot hit its wing, sending it spinning into debris. Got one. The others moved closer, circling like predators. Lyra steered sharply upward, avoiding another blast. Sparks flew across the control room as the hull trembled. 2 more incoming from above. Ryan shouted. Lyra's eyes narrowed. Eos full thrusters now. The ship jolted forward at blinding speed. The stars turned into streaks of light. The alien hunters fired, but missed by inches. One of them clipped the tail and exploded in a burst of blue fire. The others backed off, regrouping. Ryan exhaled heavily, gripping the rail. That was insane. Lyra smiled faintly. You get used to it. They shared a brief laugh, and short but real. In that moment, it didn't matter that they were from different worlds. They were just 2 people fighting to survive. But then Eos's tone changed. Warning, Nexus fleet approaching. Estimated arrival, 10 minutes. Ryan's face hardened. Then this is it. Lyra nodded, her expression unreadable. Once we reach the Nexus, we may not come back. Ryan looked at her for a long moment. Then we make it count. The ship's engines roared again as they entered the upper atmosphere. The blackness of space stretched endlessly ahead, and in the distance a colossal shadow emerged. The command nexus. A massive circular structure surrounded by glowing energy fields and dozens of warships. Lyra stared at it, her voice barely above a whisper. That's where it ends. Ryan loaded his rifle, staring at the alien fortress that loomed ahead. Then let's finish what they started. As Eos flew toward the Nexus, its lights blazing against the darkness, a soft echo filled the cockpit, the sound of Lyra's heartbeat syncing with the ship. And in that quiet rhythm, Ryan realized something he hadn't before. This wasn't just Earth's fight anymore. It was theirs. Fade to black. The command nexus loomed like a dark moon above Earth, its surface pulsing with shifting patterns of blue light. It was massive, miles wide, covered in rotating plates of metal that moved like armor. The energy core at its center glowed like a burning star, and countless alien warships circled it like vultures guarding a dying world. Inside Eos, the air trembled with tension. The engines hummed steadily, but everyone, human, alien, and machine, knew this was the end of the road. Ryan tightened the straps of his gear, checking his sniper rifle one last time. His hands were steady, but his heart felt heavy. Across from him, Lyra stood by the control console. Her silver armor cracked, her hair pulled back loosely. Her face looked calm, but her eyes, those deep green-blue eyes, carried a quiet sadness. Eos spoke softly, breaking the silence. We are approaching the Nexus access channel. Defense systems are active. Recommend evasive maneuvers. Ryan looked out the viewport. The Nexus was glowing brighter now, and he could see energy cannons shifting in their direction. We're going straight into hell, he muttered. Lyra gave a small smile. Then we make it count. The first shots came before Eos could finish the warning. Plasma fire streaked across the void, exploding around them. The ship shook violently. alarms screaming as sparks flew from the ceiling. Ryan held onto the wall while Lyra fought the controls, her hands moving fast across the glowing interface. "EOS full shield," she shouted. "Shields at 20%, the AI replied calmly. "Hull damage critical in sections 3 through 7. "We're not dying yet," Ryan growled, moving to the targeting panel. He aimed the ship's cannons and fired, striking one of the defense turrets on the Nexus. It exploded in a burst of light. That's one less to worry about. The ship weaved between beams of energy, diving into the narrow maintenance channel Lyra had mentioned, a massive tunnel under the Nexus's structure. It was dark, tight, and filled with machinery that pulsed with strange living energy. The further they went, the hotter the air became. EOS's voice dimmed slightly. "Warning, radiation levels rising. Reactor core detected ahead." Lyra's hands trembled as she pulled up a hologram of the Nexus interior. "There," she said, pointing to the center. "That's the main control chamber. If we destroy it, the Nexus will collapse." Ryan leaned over. "And how exactly do we do that?" Lyra turned to face him. "The Star Core. It can overload their energy network, but it must be placed manually." Ryan frowned. "You mean someone has to go in there?" Lyra nodded quietly. "Yes." He stared at her for a long moment. "You're not doing this alone." Her lips curved into a faint, bittersweet smile. "Ryan, if both of us go, no one will be left to fly the ship out." He shook his head. "I'm not letting you sacrifice yourself." EOS interrupted gently. "Incoming interceptors. 2 minutes to contact." Ryan slammed a hand against the console. "We don't have time for this." Lyra stepped closer, placing a hand on his chest. "Listen to me. You gave me a chance when you could have killed me. Let me give something back. If we destroy the Nexus, both our worlds get to live." Ryan's voice broke slightly. "And what about you?" She smiled softly. "Maybe I finally find peace." For a moment, neither spoke. The ship trembled again as another blast hit the hull. The time was running out. Ryan wanted to stop her, to say something, but when he looked into her eyes, he saw that she had already made her choice. He exhaled slowly and handed her his sniper rifle. "Then at least take this." Lyra accepted it, her fingers brushing his. "Thank you for seeing me as more than what I was." He managed a faint grin. "Don't make me regret it." She turned and walked toward the docking hatch, the Star Core glowing in her hands. The blue light reflected off her face, making her look almost ethereal, part human, part something greater. "EOS," Ryan said quietly. "Keep her safe." The ship's voice softened. "Always." The hatch opened, revealing the glowing interior of the Nexus. Lyra stepped out into the tunnel, surrounded by rising heat and humming energy. The walls pulsed like veins, carrying power straight to the heart of the station. She moved quickly, her steps silent, her breath steady. Ryan watched from the cockpit as she reached the core, a massive sphere of swirling light suspended in midair. It looked alive, beating like a heart. Lyra climbed onto the platform and placed the Star Core against it. Instantly, the lights flickered and the entire station began to shake. EOS spoke urgently. "Overload sequence initiated. 30 seconds until detonation." Ryan's heart pounded. "Lyra, get out of there!" Through the static of the comms, her voice came faint but calm. "It's working. The signal's collapsing. The soldiers are losing control. Lyra," he shouted again. "You need to leave now." But her voice only grew softer. "Ryan, thank you for showing me what humanity means." The connection cut. Ryan's chest tightened as he slammed the console. "No, no, no." 10 seconds to detonation," EOS said. He looked at the glowing Nexus through the viewport, light spilling out in every direction, growing brighter and brighter until it was blinding. "EOS, get us out of here." The ship turned sharply, engines roaring. The shockwave hit just as they escaped the tunnel. A blinding blue explosion erupted behind them, tearing through the Nexus and shattering its structure like glass. The surrounding warships went dark one by one, their lights fading as control signals vanished. Earth's skies cleared. The invasion ended. EOS's systems flickered, struggling to stabilize. Ryan sat silently in the cockpit, watching as the burning remains of the Nexus drifted into the void. His throat tightened. She was gone. The AI spoke softly. "Lyra's energy signature has vanished." Ryan closed his eyes, his jaw clenching. For a long moment, he didn't move. Then slowly he looked toward Earth, the blue planet spinning peacefully below. "She did it," he whispered. Yas's lights dimmed to a gentle glow. Mission complete. The ship descended slowly toward the atmosphere, the stars fading behind them. Ryan's reflection shimmered against the window, tired, broken, but alive. And beside him on the console, the StarCore pulsed faintly one last time before going dark. He smiled through the pain. Rest easy, Lyra. As the ship entered Earth's sky, the light of dawn spread across the horizon. The war was over, but her memory would live forever. The alien who chose to save humanity, and the sniper who chose to trust her, fade to black.